let's look at the fourth model development principle, the careful use of range name. So we've been discussing about the model development principles. Now we are going to look at the fourth model development principle. We call it the careful use of range names. We'll see what it is. The range name is a given name to a cell or cell range. So the range name means you can assign a name for a cell. So typical cell is known by the column and the row, the relevant column and the relevant row. For example, you can take a cell A5. So this A5 cell, A is the column and 5 is the row. So that is the typical name of a particular cell. But you can use a different name for this particular cell. So you can in fact assign a name for this particular cell. So it may be a meaningful name. So we'll have a look at that. And similarly, not only that, you can even assign a name for a particular cell range. So that is also possible in the spreadsheet package what we are using. So that particular option is also there. So when you're going to work in the large scale databases, most of the time you may have to refer to the database. So in a way, it will compromise the efficiency of this model. So time to time, in order to get the desired result, you may have to refer to this large scale database. But instead, if you make use of this range name, you don't have to refer to the large scale database in order to generate the required results. That would be the utmost importance, the use of range name. So we'll witness how it works. The range could be a columns, rows, or the combination of this. So when it comes to a cell range, it can be a particular column, or it can be a kind of several columns. It can be a particular row, or even it can be several rows, or even it could be a combination of columns and rows. So that's what we call the cell range. Now let's have a look at the range name document that is being given to you, and let's discuss the range names extensively. Now let me go to the Excel sheet and let's carry out the discussion based on this Excel sheet. So you are given this particular Word document. So that is range name command. So let's see. So as far as this introduction is concerned, yes, we have in fact discussed that. But just to take you through, it says that if someone has to call me or refer to me, they will use my name. For example, so how do you refer by someone? So you have a particular name, so you would be called by your name. So therefore, that is how it works. Similarly, in Excel, you can give a name to a cell or range of cells. As I said, for a particular cell, you can use the name, or even for a range of cells, you can use the name. This will help you to label instead of columns and rows on a worksheet to refer to the cell within those columns and rows. So typically, when you take a particular cell, it is known by the column and the relevant row. For example, it is A5. A is the column, 5 is the row. So that is how it is typically known. But instead, now you can use a kind of meaningful name and you can make use of that particular name. Now let me take you to the Excel sheet, the model what we had developed. So let's see, when it comes to the inputs, you can see that here we have taken the sales in January. So the January sales. So if you go to this January sales, you can see it is in the cell B2. Here we have the name box. In the name box, the particular name is appearing. So in fact, you can give a name for this particular cell. Then this particular cell is going to be meaningful. In fact, here we have the sales of January. So therefore, if we want to rename this as January sales, then once you go to this cell, it is known as January sales. So let's try this. You may come over here and you can go to the name box and you may click on that. So then it is highlighted. Now you can type a name. So let's say it is January sales, January sales. So if you want to keep some space, so in fact you can't keep space when you are going to give a name. So what you can do instead, you can use the underscore. You can use the underscore in order to keep some space. So how do you use the underscore? With shift you can press the minus button. So then the underscore appears. So you can say it is sales. And then most importantly, once you've given a name for that, you have to press enter. Remember to do that. Otherwise, it won't be taken. Now, if you go to this cell, its name appears as January sales. Its name appears as January sales. You can click on this drop down box. Then you can see the entire name. It is January sales. Now this particular sale is known as January sales. Now it is no longer B2. You have given a name for that. Similarly, when it comes to the sales growth, you can even give that particular name. So here you can click on this. You can say sales growth. Press enter. See, now it is having a meaningful name, sales growth. Sales growth. So that is how it is known. Then similarly, the cost of sales, you can give a name. Let me use abbreviation COS, cost of sales. Press enter. See, once you go there, the name appears. It is no longer B4. You have given a name for this. In fact, this is what we call assigning a name. Assigning a name or using the range names. So here you have defined a particular cell, right? Now let's look at how to apply this range name. So here for a particular content you can read and understand. So let me come to a most important area. It is about how to create range names. So there are in fact three ways to create range name. The first method is called using the name box. In fact, that is what we did. The second method is called using formula define name command. So there's option, so that is available in the Excel, where you can go to this formula define name command. So that is the second method. We may explore that. The third method is you can use the formula create from selection command. Again, that is another tool that is available in the Excel, where you can use to rename, where you can use to create range names. So in fact, these are three different ways of giving the names for the cells or range of cells. Let's take one by one and let's investigate. Let's start with method 1, using the name box. In this method, what you have to do is you have to select the range for which you want to create a name. It can be a particular cell or range of cells, whatever. So by selecting that, you can give a name for that. Then you need to go to name box on the left of formula bar. So at the top left corner, you have seen that the name box is there, and type the name of which you want to create a name. Then all what you have to do is you have to type the name. Note that the name created here will be available for the entire workbook. the name that you create over there, it would be available for the entire workbook. Workbook in the sense, so if you go to the Excel, the workbook would comprise different sheets. So the entire book, so this is a workbook, so there we have several sheets. So therefore, the name what you create over here, it is applicable across the worksheet. That particular name is applicable across the worksheet. So that is in a particular kind of, sometimes it could be a limitation. Sometimes you just want to restrict this name for a particular worksheet. So in fact, if you use this particular method, you can't restrict that particular name for a particular sheet. So whatever the name that you create here, it is applicable for all the worksheets. So if you want to create a particular name only applicable for a particular worksheet, you may have to go for a different method. So that's what it says. If you wish to restrict it to a worksheet, you have to use the method 2. But as a starting point, let's learn how to do that. In fact, that's what we did, isn't it? So here we have gone to the sales in January and we have given the name January sales. The sales growth, yes, we have given the name over there, sales growth. Then cost of sales, yes, we have given the name. Now let's try to give a name for these operating expenses. So let's use the abbreviation. Let's say OE, OE, operating expenses. And remember, here I forgot to enter that, so therefore it has not been taken, right? OE, press enter. Then it become applicable. If you go to that particular cell, then it is OE. Then the tax rate, you can go to this, you can give a name. So you can use the full term or even a kind of abbreviation. But you feel comfortable with, you may apply that, the tax rate. Now you have given a meaningful context for each of these cells. Now when you go to the cells, the cell itself will tell what it is. So when you go to this 10%, it says that it is sales growth. When you go to this 200,000, it says that it is January sales. When you go to 50%, it says it is cost of sales. So therefore it is quite meaningful, isn't it? Rather than just going by the default name like B5, B4, B3, likewise. So now it is, you are having a more meaningful context. Now let's go to the output section and see. Once you go over here, so it says that it is, yeah. Now let me refer to that again. Yes. See what happens. Now it says, once you go over there, it says it is January sales. Now according to these names, let me update the entire thing. Then you can see the updated information would be taken there. So let me delete this and let me redo that again. So since I have used the names for that, so you can refer to this and that's it. Then you can get this particular cell multiplied by the 1 plus the growth rate. So in fact we used to do that. So in this particular case, once you rename that, so that particular cell become an absolute cell, an absolute cell. So therefore you need not to make it absolute again. So it has become absolute, right? So you can drag this. So if you want to restore the original situation, make it 100,000 and make it 5%. It is there. It's 40% and 10% and tax rate 15%, right? Okay. Cost of sales, you get this particular cell multiplied by cost of sales. See, the name comes. So now you can simply drag it because it's automatic. So it has become absolute. So you can take and make sure to make it minus. It's a minus 1, so it's 40,000. And the gross profit, so you can take the summation, right. Then the operating expenses, again, you can take this particular cell, make it minus, and multiply it by the operating expenses, right. Then the profit before tax, you can take the summation, the difference between these two. Then the income tax, you may take this multiplied by the tax rate, and make sure to have a minus figure, so take the minus sign. And profit after tax, again the summation, you may take this particular, right, 42,500. That's it. Okay, now let's see. Now it may provide some meaningful context. When it comes to the references, if you go over here, it says that here you have the January sales. It's because, so this particular cell we have given a name. And if you come to this particular cell, you can see that this particular cell, the B12, is multiplied by 1 plus sales growth. See how meaningful it is, rather than just taking 5% over there or the B3 over here. Now it provides some meaningful context. It gives you some particular meaning. So for a user other than the model developer is used this particular model, so it make more sense to that particular person. So that would be kind of added advantage of the use of range names, right? That's the one particular kind of advantage. Here also what they have done, they have taken this particular cell and it is multiplied by the cost of sales. So that's what they have done. So it is meaningful. So if you go over here, it is B12 multiplied by operating expenses. So here we have the operating expense. So it gives some meaningful context. Similarly, B16 multiplied by tax rate likewise. So therefore, the use of this range name will help to make the cells more meaningful. Make the cells more meaningful. So now it is known as the name that you have given. So this is one application. Here what you did, you have applied the name for a particular cell. Even this is possible to apply for a particular range even, right? Just to show you some, let me go to the cell. So here we have the example that I had taken to explain the relative cells and absolute cells. And here you have taken the monthly income and the expenses and the profit. Let's say that you want to compute the total profit. You want to compute the total profit. If that is the case, what you may have to do, you may have to take, so let's say that the question, there is a question asking you to calculate total sales. The question like this. And then it asks calculate the total profit. Calculate the total profit and calculate the total calculate the average profit. And also then it asks you to calculate calculate maximum profit, maximum monthly profit, likewise, right? So let's say these are three instances. So therefore, if you are to do this, what you must do in a normal way, you may take the equal sign and you may take the summation, the sum, and you may go and select this particular range and you would get the total profit. No problem, it's very correct. Then if you have to calculate the average profit, what you would do, you would take the average and you may go to, sorry, equal average, double click on the formula, then select the profit figures. Then you would get the average profit. No problem, correct. Again, you've been asked to identify the maximum profit, so you take max function and you may select this, then the highest profit would be made available. No problem, it is correct. But the thing is, here you have compromised the efficiency. So I would say the effectiveness is there. As long as you generate the correct answer, the effectiveness is there. But the problem is with the efficiency. Where's the efficiency? You have compromised. In fact, you had to select this particular cell range for 3 times. It is quite inefficient. It's quite inefficient. Instead of that, you should have used a more smart way. Rather than selecting this several times, you would have used a more kind of uh, more efficient way. And what that particular way? It is in fact the use of range name. There we agreed that you can assign a range name for a particular cell or even for a range of cells. So therefore, here by selecting this entire range, you could have given a name. So what that name? It may be profit, right? So you can use a meaningful name. You could have gone to this name box, and for this entire range, you would have used the term profit. Press enter. Now you have given the name for this entire range. If you select the entire range, what it calls? It calls that is profit. That is the name that you have given for the entire range. So therefore, this is particularly useful when you are using the large scale databases. When you are using the large scale databases, this particular range name would come in handy. Now let's see what is the convenient we have. Once you assign the name, if you come and if you want to work out the total sales, total profit, what you have to do? Take the sum and say profit. So just go and type on the things, then it would appear. Then you can double click on that. Click on that, then close the brackets and enter. See, you don't have to select the range again. Similarly, if you want to get the average profit, what you can do? You can type average, the function, then you may type profit. That's it. Profit. That's it. You can close the bracket. See how easy that is. You don't have to refer to the database again and again. You can generate the answers with minimal effort. So if you want to generate the maximum, so type max and take profit. Profit. It is there. Type that. So here you get that particular answer. So that's how you get the benefit out of the range name. So therefore, using the name box, you can assign a name for a particular cell. So what we had observed over here, and even for a range of cells, you can use the name box and assign the name. So therefore, this is going to be the most easiest way to assign a name for a particular cell or a range of cells, right? So that is the first method in fact. Now let's look at the second method, how to use this method to assign names for the cells or cell ranges. Cell ranges. Here are the steps to create name range in Excel using define name. When you are going to assign a name for a particular range or a particular cell, what you have to do is you have to select that particular range or a particular cell. Then you have to go to formulas, and then there you have option called define name. So by going define name, you can give the name and decide the scope and the cell references. Right, let's have a look at this method. Okay, first let us give a name for a particular cell using this method. Now let me get rid from a particular sorry, let us use a particular cell for this, right? Okay, let's say that yeah. So let me take this profit after tax. So here what we have in fact in this cell, that is a profit after tax for the month of January. You want to give a name for this. You want to give a name for this January profit. January profit. What is the easiest way to do that? You can go to the name box and you can give the name. But we are going to try a different method. Now let's see using a different method how to give a name for a particular cell. You can go to the formulas. Now you are in the home tab. You have to go to the formulas, and there you have a section called defined names. Defined names. In fact, that is where you can give the name. There you have option called define name. See, the define name option is there. Then you can simply click on that. Thereafter, here it comes a name for this particular cell. They have suggested, can I use the name profit after tax? No, we are going to use a different name now. So you have to delete that particular name, the suggestion that is appearing. You want to say that it is January sales. So take it like January underscore, if you want to keep some space, and make it, so January profit. January profit. So that gives you a meaningful name. Then it asks, what is the scope? So scope in the sense, this particular range name is applicable to what you want to make it applicable. Is it for the entire workbook? That is in the sense for all the worksheets, or is it just for the work, the particular sheet what you are in? So it is something up to you to decide. If you want to make this particular name applicable for only for this sheet, then you may have to select the relevant sheet. If you want to make it applicable for the whole workbook, then you can say workbook. So in fact, that is the scope. Now let us say that we want to make it applicable only for this sheet. So take it like sheet 1, we are in sheet 1. Then refer to the particular cell. So they have said this was the cell B18. Yes, in fact, that is the cell what you want to rename. Then you can say OK. See now what has happened. If you go to this cell, it is no longer B18, but it is January profit. It is January profit. So that is how you assign a name for a particular cell using the define name option. Even you can do this for a particular range even. For example, if you want to give the range of income from January to December, if you want to assign a name for that, what you can do, you can select the entire thing. By selecting the entire thing, you can go to the, by selecting the range, you can go to the define name. In the define name, you can give a suitable name. There it suggests, let me make it like income. Yeah, it sounds good. So that particular name is okay. So if you want to settle with a different name, you may use that. But I feel that particular name is fine. So let me use income. So the workbook or worksheet, it is something up for you to decide. Let me say workbook, and they have shown it refer to this particular range from B5 to B16. Say okay. Now for this entire range, that particular name is applicable. So if you select that, you can see it is known as income. It is known as income. Then similarly, you could have done this for the expenses. For this range of expenses, you can go to the formulas. Sorry. There you have in the define name section, define name. Click on that. Then it asks you to make it expenses. Say okay. See how easy that is to apply that. Now let's take the same question and let's work these questions for the income and for expenses. Then let's experience the convenience that this particular range names would offer. You want to, let's say, calculate total income. Let's say that you want to calculate total income for a given scenario. And also you want to calculate the average income. Average income. And also you want to calculate the maximum monthly income. What is the maximum monthly income? Similarly, you can have the same set of questions even for the expenses as well. So you can say what is the total expenses, and what is the average expenses, and what is the maximum monthly expense. So you may have to make use of. Right. Let's calculate the total income. So you don't have to refer to the data set because now you have assigned name for that. So what you have to do, take the total one. You can take the summation, take sum, double click on that. You have assigned a name, range name for the cell range. So what was that? So you want to calculate total income. So the income range is known as income. So take it like income and close it. See, it gives you the total income. Total income. So if you are to calculate the average income, quite easy. Take average, take income. So if you want to take average monthly income, sorry, maximum monthly income, take max. You can take the income. See how convenient that is. You don't have to refer to the dataset again and again. So that is where the flexibility, so that is where the efficiency comes. So similarly, you can do this for the expenses since you have assigned a name for the expenses. So how do you take? You can take the sum function and take expenses. Once you start typing, it appears, and select that and take it. Again, average function, you may take that, then expenses. Then you have the monthly one, so you take max, you may take the expenses. See how quickly you can generate the answers without referring to a database. So if you had a database where you have thousands of 10,000s of record, so here it gives you the greatest efficiency because you don't have to refer to the database again and again in order to generate the answers. So that is where the benefit comes, the benefit of range name. So it would be experience if you have a large scale database. So we may have generated the answers for that. So that is how you make use of the second method to give a name for the particular cell or range of cells. Now let's look at the third method to assign names for the cell or cell range. So in fact, third method, I would say that is the most convenient way, the most convenient method. So this may come handy when you have large scale databases. So you can apply this for a kind of database, right? So the third method is more suitable for a database situation. It says that the method 3 using create from selection. This is the recommended way when you have data in a tabular form. When you have data in tables, this may be the most suitable way. And you want to create name range from each column or each row. When you take a database, it may be the data would be there in the columns or it may be in the rows. So it depends on the way the table is arranged. So in such kind of situation, you can make use of this create from selection command, and it will help you to get the range names done. So here the specific instructions is given, but let's straight away go to a kind of question and let's witness that. So let me take you through these steps. So the third step, let me take a kind of example for this. Here we have information about the employee information about a particular organization. Let's say here you have the information about the employee ID, you have the information about the salary, and you have the information about experience, right? So these are the given information. Now in this question, by referring to this particular database, several questions would be asked, like what is the total salary in a given situation. This particular kind of questions can be there. What is the total salary of the employees? What is the total salary of employees? You have several employees, like 42 employees, and the salary details are given. Then it is asked, what is the average salary of employees and the maximum salary, even the minimum salary, right? So these are some of the questions that it can be there by referring to this database. And also, what is the average experience and the maximum experience and minimum experience, let's say, likewise. So here several questions are given. So in order to generate answers for that, if you do not make use of the range name, each time you may have to refer to this database and generate the answers. That's what you may have to do. But instead, if you use the range names, you can easily generate answers without referring to this dataset. By using your knowledge, in fact, by now you know two ways of generating the range name. The one way is you can select a particular range and you can simply go to the name box and give the relevant name. That is one method. The other method is you can select a particular range and you can go to the formulas and define name and you can give a name there. But since we have learned about those two methods, now let's try a different method. In fact, that is the most easiest method. So it may come in handy when the data is given in a table. So it may be vertically arranged table or it could be horizontally arranged table. Whatever it is, you can apply that. Now let me select this data set, the entire data set, right? Now I have select the entire data set. Having selected the entire data set, what you have to do, you have to go to this formulas, and there you have the define name. Then there's option, it is appearing over here, it calls create from selection. Create from selection. Then what you can do, you can simply left click on that. Then it asks you create names from selection. So you have a selection. Now they are trying to create the names from the selection. Then it asks create names from the values in the top row or left column, bottom row, right column. That's what they ask. So how do you want to assign the names for this range? Let me use the top row and assign the names. So මේ question එකේ මේ option එකේ create from selection option එකේ තියෙනවා different options නේ. එතකොට නම් කොහොමද assign කරන්න ඕනේ මේ range වලට? එතකොට මෙතන by default අරන් තියෙනවා දැන් මේක vertically arrange කරපු table එකක්. ඒ නිසා table headings තියෙන්නේ උඩම top row එකේ. එතකොට මෙතනදී අහනවා create names from values in the top row එකේ තියෙන values ටික base කරලා නම් ටික ගන්නද? ඒ කියන්නේ employee ID column එකට range එකට employee ID කියන නම ගන්නද? salaries කියන ටිකට salaries තියෙන column එකට salary කියන නම assign කරන්නද? experiences තියෙන cells වලට experience කියලා refer කරන්නද කියලා අහන්න. So by default, so in this question you can see that the table is vertically arranged. So therefore it is better to take the names from the top row. But instead, this particular table is arranged in a kind of horizontal way, where you have the names, the name headings on the column. It is arranged in a particular column. So in that particular case, you may have to take the option left column. But here, since the things are arranged in a vertical way, so it is better to take the things from the top row. Then you may say, okay. Then let's see what is the impact that it has. Now if I select this experience range, see what has happened. They have assigned the name experience. As it was asked, they have assigned that as experience. So similarly, if you select these salaries, they would say it is salary. See, that is the convenient which it offers. So create from selection. So you can see it is taken like employee ID. So let me rearrange this table. Let me now arrange this in a kind of, let me copy this, and let me go to a different sheet, and let me arrange this in a kind of horizontal way, right? So in order to do that, you can right click, then you can have option called paste special. So later you will be learning that. So at this moment, just to execute that, then in the paste special, you can get the transpose option. Then what happens? The columns become rows, rows become columns. That's what it happens. See, now it's a kind of table where you have arranged it horizontally. Then make අපි තිරස් අතට තමා arrange කරලා තියෙන්නේ නේ. එතකොට මේ වගේ වෙලාවක අපිට range name දෙන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් අපි ඒ range name එක ගන්න කියන්නේ කොතනින්ද? එතකොට top row එකකින් ගන්න කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ නේ, meaningful නැහැනේ. එතකොට මේ වගේ වෙලාවක more meaningful වෙන්නේ left column එකෙන් ගන්න කියන එක නේ. අපි එතකොට මුලින්ම data set එක select කරලා බලමු. එතකොට අපි හිතමු මේ වගේ data table එකක් තිබුණ අවස්ථාවක නම් කොහොමද name එක දෙන්නේ කියලා. So you may select the data set. You may go to the create from selection. See, by default, it identifies this particular table and then it asks us create names from the values in the left column. Let me take the names from the left column. That's what it asks. In fact, that's what we want. In this situation, you can't take the names from the top row, but it would be more meaningful to take the names from the left column. So it asks, let me take it from the left column. See, Okay, see, now if you select this, it shows like employee ID. It shows like employee ID. So if you select the second one, so it is salary. See, it had become applicable. So I just wanted to show you it can be applicable for a vertically arranged table as well as horizontally arranged table. So that's what I wanted to show you, right? Right. So I might need not that. Okay, let me keep this for a while. Right. Now let's take the answers for this by referring to that. What is the total salary of employees? What you have to do? You may have to take the summation. Then you can see it is salary. So if you type the salary, there it comes. See, average salary. Similarly, you can take average. So just type salary. So you can get the answer. The maximum salary. So you may have to type max. Just type salary. So there the answer comes. Minimum, type min function salary. So there you get the answer. Average, you can type average. You want to take experience, so type experience. Type experience. Maximum, type max experience. Minimum, type min experience. See how easy you can execute that. Minimum experience is found to be 0. Yes, there's a person with no experience at all. Yes, so that's how you would generate the answers. Now you know 3 methods of generating range names, right? Now if I ask you a question, uh, then how do you know in a given workbook or in a given worksheet what are the names that you had applied? Let's say that you want to see what are the applicable range name in this particular worksheet or workbook. If you want to see something like that, what you are supposed to do? එතකොට මම අහුවත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් මේ යම්කිසි worksheet එක නැත්නම් workbook එක තියෙන range names ටික මොනවද කියලා මට දැනගන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් කොහොමද මම ඒක දැනගන්නේ? How do you get to know that? Yes, it is pretty much important. All what you have to do is you have to go to the formulas. In the define name, there's option called name manager. Name manager. You can simply click on that. See, there you have a list of names that is being list of range names that is being used in this question. You have cost of sales, employee ID, employee ID 2 times. Why is that? Because one is used in sheet 4, you can see over here, and the other one is used in sheet 3. Expenses, experiences, income, January profit, January sales, operating expenses, profit, salary, sales growth, tax rate. So this would be the full list of names that you have used. Let's say that in a given situation, you want to delete a particular name. How you are supposed to do? So you can see the option is there. Let's say that. So in the first sheet, let's say that I want to delete the names that I have assigned over here. අපි දුමු මේ පළවෙනි question එකේ අපි assign කරා sales වලට name ටිකක් අපි assign කරා. අපි හිතමු දැන් අපිට ඒවා අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. January sales කියන එක අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට අපිට මේක අයින් කරන්න අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම යන්න ඕනේ name manager කියන එකට. name manager එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඔන්න අපි January sales කියලා දුන්න නම මට අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ. මම යනවා January sales කියලා. මෙන්න select කරා මොකද කරන්නේ? just delete it. ඒ වගේම මම හිතුවා sales growth එකත් අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. Okay, go to the sales growth, delete it. So you can remove that. Let's say you want to remove cost of sales. Okay, go to the cost of sales, delete it. Let's say that you want to delete what you call that operating expenses. Okay, say delete that. You want to delete the tax rate. Okay, go to the tax rate. You can delete it. So that's how you delete the range names. Then in a particular instance, you feel that you want to edit a particular range name. Can you edit a particular range name? Yes, that option is also there. Let's say that in this question you want to edit let's say the January profit. So this is what the January profit. Here you can remember that. So the January profit, we have given a name for that. Let's use a kind of different name for that. How do you supposed to do that? You may select that and go to the edit option. There it gives you the option to change the name. Let's say that you want to say that it is you want to use more abbreviation. So you are going to say Jan Pro, something like that. You want to change that, or you want to edit the range name. Yes, you can do that. Now you have edit that, say okay. Now see, it has been updated. January profit. You have used the abbreviation Jan Pro, something like that. So therefore, the edit and delete option is available in this range name, that is available where it is available in the name manager. Since we have deleted the things, now it has shown like a kind of error, because here we used to have the names earlier and no longer these names are there. So therefore this model does not identify this January sales, right? So අපි දැන් අර names ටික delete කරා. එතකොට මේක තවදුරටත් අඳුරගන්නේ නැහැ අර කියලා තිබුණු formula ටිකනේ. එතකොට අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් මේක ආපහු name assign කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක මුල ඉඳලා develop කරන්න පුළුවන්. මම ඒක අපි so what we are supposed to do, so let us use new set of names. අපි අලුතෙන් name දීලා මේ ටික complete කරමු, right? එතකොට range names තවදුරටත් ඒව නැහැ, අපි delete කරපු ඒවා. ඒ නිසා මේක දැන් ඒ cells ටික හොයාගන්න බෑ. ඒ නිසා මේක error එකක් විදිහට පෙන්නනවා. That's what is has happened, right? So you may delete that. You may use the names. Now you know an easy method to assign the range name. You don't have to do it one by one. By using your knowledge, you can even select this particular thing and you can select create from selection. That is one option which is available to you. So if you wish to exercise that, then say take the names from the left column. That's it. Now you have assigned the names, sales in January. So what you can do, go to this and refer to this particular set, sales in Jan. They have taken. Then the cost of sales. So we may complete this. February, you may take the January sales multiplied by 1 plus the sales growth. So you have given a name for that. You may get that. Right. Now you can drag that. That's it. Similarly, cost of sales equal minus this particular sale multiplied by the cost of sale. So we have taken it. That no problem. Drag it. Take the gross profit similarly equal sum $60,000. Then you can take the operating expenses as well. Take the sales multiplied by the operating expenses. Take the minus sign and operating expenses. Right, 10,000. So you can simply drag it, take the profit before tax, take the summation, income tax. Well, you take the profit before tax multiplied by the tax rate. So it has been given names. You can enter that. That's it. Right. So you can take the profit after tax even. Take the summation, profit after tax. Right. So we have completed that again, because since we had deleted the names, so it had produced some unintended consequences, but we have managed that. So now you know how to delete a particular name. All what you have to do is go to the name manager, and you know how to edit a particular name. So in fact, this is how you must make use of the name range, right? Okay, now once you read this content, it may give you some meaningful context. Then here we have discussed about the benefits of creating name range in Excel. So if you create the the range names, it will give you certain benefits like use names instead of cell references. As I repeatedly told you, it gives you some meaningful context. It gives you some meaningful context, isn't it? So here, the particular cell is known as sales in January. Instead of saying B2, it gives you a meaningful context. Here it is known like sales growth. So it is quite meaningful. So that is one of the advantage. No need to go back to the data set to select the cells. In fact, you have experienced that. So when you are working in a database like this, so in order to calculate the total profit, you don't have to go to the data set because you have given a name for that. So here also you don't have to go to the data set. You could have easily, by make use of the range name, you could have done that. So the same thing was experienced even here. In order to calculate total salary, all what you had to do is just type equal sum and type salary, the range name. Then the desired results was generated. So if you haven't make use of this range name, each time you may have to refer to the data set and generate the answers. So it would be costly exercise. So that is the second advantage. The third advantage is name ranges make formulas dynamic. So when you make use of the range names, the other benefit was that these formulas become more meaningful, isn't it? Here you could see that. So here you have taken 1 plus the sales growth. Instead of taking a particular percentage over here, since you have used the particular range name, it gives you a meaningful context. So similarly, when come to the cost of sales, it says that the B12 multiplied by the cost of sales. So therefore, the formulas become more meaningful. That is the third advantage of range names. So likewise, we have experienced all the benefit that it offers by the range names. Now let's take some standards that you should follow when you are creating the range names. So here we have applied some of the standards, some of the uh, requirement uh, when you are make use of the range names. But so here we have a detailed set of standards, so which would be helpful for you when you are trying to create the range names. We'll see what those are. There are certain naming rules you need to know while creating name range in Excel. The first character of a name range should be a letter, underscore, or a backslash. Backslash. So this is the requirement. You can't start a range name something other than this. For example, you can't start the range name with a star. It has to be a letter, underscore, or backslash. The first character has to be there. And in almost all the circumstances, in our cases, the first letter was a kind of word. So first letter was a kind of word. So therefore we haven't experienced difficulty in that respect. But it's a kind of rule. You need to go by a letter or underscore character or a backslash. If it is anything else, it will show an error. So therefore you can't use any other character as a first letter. The first character can't be anything other than that. The remaining characters can be letters, numbers, special characters, period or underscore. So the remaining characters, no problem. You can go by the numbers, you can go by the special characters, the period, whatsoever. That is the first requirement. The second thing is, it says that you cannot use the names that also represent cell references in Excel. For example, you can't use AP1 as it is also a cell reference. That is in the sense, here you know that by default there are certain names, no? Here you have a name called E2, E2, right? This particular cell is known as E2. You can't use E2 to define a other cell because that is by default there. So let's try to do that. Let's try to rename this D2 by E2. Let's see whether it works. If you try to do that, no, it doesn't apply. It simply takes you to the E2 cell. So that's why it says the default names you can't use there, right? That is the second requirement. The third is you cannot use spaces while creating name ranges. So the third thing is you can't keep spaces. So in fact, we have adhered to that. Say for an example, you can't use this name as sales growth by keeping a space. If you want to keep the space, you must have to use the underscore. You may either should not keep some space or you may use the underscore to have some space. So that is another requirement. In fact, we have adhered to that. So let's say that you want to rename this particular cell as kind of let's say that so let's try to give some meaningful name. Let's say let's try this. So let's say that this is February sales. We want to rename this like February sales. Let's try that. February sales. By keeping some space, let's see whether it's work. No, it says that you must enter a valid reference you want to go to or type a valid name for the selection. So it is simply because we have tried to keep some space. The spaces are not allowed. Not allowed. While creating name range, Excel treats uppercases and lowercases the same way. That is also an important thing. It does not make any distinction between uppercases and lowercases. Right? So here you have, so let's take one example for this. Here you have taken OE as a name, right? Now let's try to use the simple letters for another cell, the OE, right? Let's try this. Let me take D5 and try simple O underscore E. Let's say whether it works. No, it does not allow me to do. So it simply take me back to this particular sum because it does not make any difference between the upper cases and lower cases. That is also important thing that you need to make sure. And it says that the name range can be up to 255 characters. So then what must be the length of a name? There can be 255 characters if you wish. එතකොට characters 255ක් ඕන නම් භාවිතා කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ නමක් දෙන purpose එකට. So that's what it says. Okay. Getting the names of all the names range. එතකොට අපිට බලන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් අපි use කරලා තියෙන names, you have different option. You can earlier we have used the name manager, even you can use in formula option, you can leave this. So that is another thing. Right, let's try to see that. So here, if you go to the name manager, it also gives you the comprehensive list of range names that is being used, or otherwise you can use the use in formula. So here also it gives you these particular names. So here it shows the name list that you had make use of. So that's what it says over there. This will give you a list of all the names range in that worksheet. To use a name range formula, double click on it. You can double click on that, and so you can apply that particular thing. So if you want to apply it for a particular place, so what you have to do, let's say that you want to take the total salary, what you must do, take equal, take sum. So instead of typing the things, you could have go to the using formula, you can select the salary over here. So then there it comes, the salary. That's what it says. There's another option, it was there that, so the paste name. So in this option even you can do the same purpose. So that is to apply a particular range name. But simply we can type that. In fact, we have experienced that, but instead of typing that, if you wish, for a given circumstance, you can still use this option. You can select it from the list, or you can go to the paste name option and select the relevant name from the list. Salary, okay. Then it is taken there. So different ways of doing the same thing. අපි දැක්කා මෙතන අපි total salary ගද්දි equal type කරා sum එක දැම්මා අපි එතන type කරා salary කියලා නේ. ඒතර type කරලා ගත්තේ. ඒකට එහෙම කරන්නේ නැතුව අපිට අවශ්‍ය නම් කරන්න තිබුණා ඕනනම් මේක sum එක කියලා දාලා මෙතන use in formulas වලට ගිහිල්ලා paste name වලට ගිහිල්ලා ඒ salary කියන එක select කරලා එතනින් ගත්තත් ඒක කරන්න තිබ්බනේ. ඒකට ඒක extra effort එකක් එහෙමත් කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක තමයි පෙන්වන්න අවශ්‍ය වුනේ, right? So that is how to make use of that. Right. Then you know how to edit that. In fact, we have discussed that. And also you can change the range names even. Edit කරන්න පුළුවන්, මේක change කරන්න පුළුවන්, different options are there. Okay. So that's about the range name command. So just to show you the edit option, so here we have experience in fact. So you go to this name manager. So if you want to get this particular thing done, let's say that related to the experience or something, you can go to this edit. So if you go to the edit, then this is the sheet 4. Sorry, let me get this experience in sheet 3. So let's say you want to edit that. Then here if you want to change the range, even it is possible. Here by default it takes from C2 to C43. Let's say that you want to change that, even that particular option is there. The range එකක් change කරන්න ඕන නම් තව cells add වෙනවා නම් අපිට ඒ අලුත් cells උත් දාලා ඒක update කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ what you call the change range name. Change කරනවා කියන එක, right? but ඒකත් අවශ්‍ය නම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Everything is possible here, right? So that's what we wanted to show, right? Okay, so with that note we finish our discussion on the range names. Now here we have given some activities. In fact, these are the class activities. So when you come to the next class, you need to try these class activities. So I would take this to a separate sheet and put it there as the class activities. Then you can try these activities when you come to the next class, right? So therefore I will leave these activities for you. So there are like 1, 2 and 3 activities. You may try these activities on your own.